All right, what's going on, everyone? If you haven't heard, Halo is now coming to PlayStation. And so I want to give my thoughts on the situation, kind of just, give my 2 cents on, what does this mean for the game, the franchise, Xbox, PlayStation, the console wars, and everything else. So let's just go ahead and start. So I think the first thing to talk about is that people need to understand this is not a remaster. This isn't just going to have, fancy new textures and character models and animations. This is a full-on remake. They're remaking the game. I guess from square one. You can see in the gameplay in the background. This looks very similar to Halo Infinite, and I think that's what they're trying to do. I think they're wanting to make the Halo games more consistent because if you play like the Master Chief Collection, going from Halo CE to then going to like Halo 4, they're very, very different games. Even going from Halo CE to Halo Infinite, they're just very different games. And I think what their plan is right now is just to make the games more consistent across the board. And I'm for it. I think that's great. I think the series it needs something like this. I think those old Halo games, the originals, you can play them on the Master Chief Collection. I think they are awesome in their own right, in their own ways. I think at the time they were definitely groundbreaking. But I think what they're doing right now. I think this is just really good. Just for the series as a whole, and I'm for it. I like it, and so I wanted to just talk about. So as of right now, it's just Halo 1 that looks like it's being remade, and now I guess what I want to talk about is: will this be the whole series? Will it just be the original trilogy? What are their plans? What I think is probably going to happen is at the minimum, I think they would have to do the original trilogy. I would think. That just makes the most logical sense. I couldn't see them just making Halo 1 and then not making the other two games to conclude the story. So I think at the minimum, they would have to do the trilogy. And then, based on how those games sell, maybe they would remaster Reach. Maybe they would remaster Halo 3 ODST. Maybe Halo 4. I don't know if Halo 5 needs a remaster, and definitely not Infinite. But I think that's what I would assume would probably happen is the original 3 would be remade. And I think this is great. This is bringing in a new generation of gamers, a new, the PlayStation generation. I know a lot of people maybe don't have an Xbox or never wanted to build a PC and play the Master Chief Collection on PC. And so this is awesome. A lot of people, they definitely are just PlayStation gamers. They just didn't want to make the switch and I understand that. Once you're on one platform, it's really it's not convenient to have to switch around. So I can understand that. So this is great. This finally gives PlayStation players the chance to play this, awesome series and just, experience it because, I think Halo is one of those games where everyone has to play at least once. It's really iconic. And so the next thing I want to talk about is will this revive the series? I think it's possible. I think depending on how these games do, I think, it definitely has that potential depending on how much they remake and stuff, So, and I think, we'll just see how this, I guess, how this new fan base and whatnot takes this game. Maybe they don't like it. Maybe this does end up flopping and they stop after, the first game or so. But I'm curious. I think this will spark a lot of interest, especially if they make these games like crossplay. I think that would be pretty good for the game. And also, not only is this coming to PlayStation, it's also coming to PC and Xbox. So if you're watching this video and you're on PC or you're an Xbox gamer, don't worry. This remake is also coming to PC and Xbox. It's not just going to be PlayStation. So this gives, people like myself who's on PC and other people on Xbox, don't feel like you're going to be missing out. Don't feel like you're not going to have access to this remake. We all are. And I'm excited for it. I've played through the Master Chief Collection. I've had a ton of fun. But, I'm excited to play it with, different mechanics and graphics and stuff. I think it'd be a good experience to just go through it again. And then the next topic I'm going to talk about are the console wars over? So a little bit ago, Helldivers 2, it came to Xbox. A lot of PlayStation exclusives and Xbox exclusives have been coming to PC. So, obviously the Halo Master Chief Collection, that was Xbox, came to PC. Gears of War, Xbox to PC. Then there's also the PlayStation exclusives. Think like God of War, Uncharted, what else? Ratchet and Clank, Spider-Man, those kind of games, they've come to PC. And I feel like now, I think we can almost, in a way, we can thank the PC community. I think what happened is a lot of people were switching from consoles and they switched to PC. And I think if it wasn't for that giant, migration to PC, we would have never gotten, console exclusives on PC. And I think that kind of like paved the way for console exclusives going to other consoles. I think that was a big factor. And so, I'm excited. Hopefully, I think console exclusives at the time, I understand why they did it at the time. But I think, it's 2025 now. I think those days of console exclusive games, I think they're slowly becoming a thing of the past. At the time, people, they were, the companies, they were making money off the consoles themselves. But now I don't even think the consoles, they're making money on the consoles anymore. It's more just the games and accessories that come with the consoles. And I think, this would be a great way to let's just, console exclusives can be a thing of the past. I think this is a great step forward, for gamers, just gamers, I think. And then now let's just talk about the gameplay changes. So if you look in the background, as you can see, they've now added sprint, which I think I know a lot of people, this is controversial. A lot of people don't like it. They didn't like it when it was first introduced in Halo Reach as a power-up. And if you played through the series, you would know that Halo Reach, that was the first game that sprint was introduced, but it wasn't introduced as a default mechanic. It was a power-up. And then you could choose your different power-ups in that game. So I know it's a little controversial. Some people don't like it. They don't like having sprint as an ability, as a base thing in the game. But, if this is going to be a remake, and if they're going to make the whole series consistent, I think they're going to have the sprint in the game because, going from a game like Halo CE, Halo 2, and then going to like Reach or Infinite, it definitely does feel a lot different. So I think they just need to have probably sprint in all the games, just so there's consistency. Like I said, I don't know if people are really happy about it, but I think it is what it is. That looks, as you can see, I think that's what they're going to be going with moving forward. And then another thing that they've added is the Needler now has an ammo count. I know a lot of people don't like that. It looks kind of tacky. That's just another change that they're doing. And that kind of, begs the question, what other changes are they going to make that we just don't know about? I think a lot of this stuff might just be quality of life. Like the sprint, definitely is a quality of life, being able to just get places quicker. The Needler ammo count, yeah, it looks a little silly, but I think it's, quality of life. You can just look at your ammo on the gun. But, I don't know. I think, there could be more changes to the games. We will see what happens. Hopefully they're good changes. Hopefully they don't, break the game or anything like that. So, yeah, there's my thoughts on that. And then finally, the graphics and textures. So, this game, it objectively, it looks better. Like, it just looks, these graphics look really good. But at the same time, I think a lot of people are saying, this doesn't look like Halo. When you think of Halo, you think of like the original trilogy. And I think also ODST, it also looked, Halo. It wasn't until Halo Reach where they like kind of like changed up the way the characters, their models and stuff looked. And so, I don't know. I think this is fine. If it's going to be a remake, I think they had to, up the graphics and stuff. And like I said, people, they may say this doesn't feel like Halo. This feels more like Halo Infinite and less like Halo 1, Halo 2, Halo 3. But, it is what it is. I think it does look good. Hopefully it performs well. Hopefully it runs well on PC. I think that's kind of like everyone's big concern is how will this run? Because it does look good, but that's going to like destroy your PC. But hopefully it doesn't, but I think that's a concern. And so those are all my thoughts. Hopefully you enjoyed listening to me ramble about this. I'm excited. I really am excited. I'm excited. Just got finished doing the Master Chief Collection, and I would love to play through the series again with updated textures and all that good stuff. Just see what's changed, get to play as a Master Chief again. I think that'd be a lot of fun. I'm excited. I think this is really good just as a gamer in general. Breaking down the console wars and all that stuff. I think this is a step in the right direction. Hopefully there's more exclusives and whatnot coming to different consoles. Hopefully, we get more remakes like this. I would love to play certain games I never got to experience just because I'm a PC gamer, and so yeah, this will be really good. I think for the series and the franchise. I wish the Halo Studios a lot of luck. Wish them well, and I hope this does perform well. Just as far as sales and performance goes. So we will see. I'm excited. This is coming 2026, and yeah, I'll probably end up buying it and just gonna play through it. So yeah, hope you enjoyed. See ya.